Jiddu Krishnamurti never wanted followers. Not because he rejected people, but because he knew what following does. It shapes minds into copies. It blinds the eye with borrowed light. And he had seen enough of that. Centuries of repetition, ritual, authority, hierarchy, all standing where wonder once lived. He spoke not to teach, but to unteach, not to offer answers, but to dissolve the questions. He sat on platforms in crowded halls, but he never stood above. He spoke quietly, as if speaking louder might break something sacred. And what he pointed to wasn't far away. It wasn't hidden in mountains or buried in scriptures. It was right here, in the space between thoughts, in the moment you see a leaf without calling it a leaf. He asked, can you watch without naming? Can you feel without reaching? Can you listen without interpreting? These weren't riddles. They were keys to a door that opens only when you stop trying to open it. He lived simply. A small house, a garden, a few friends. But inside that quiet frame was a mind vast and still, like an untouched lake at dawn. He watched the world pass. Wars, politics, revolutions, ideologies, and he asked, what changes when we change only the outer forms? He saw how we cling to the known. Titles, beliefs, identities, like rafts in a storm. But the storm is the clinging. The fear is in the grasping. He spoke of ending time, ending self, ending the constant movement of becoming. Not as death, but as freedom. Not as loss, but as arrival. Many didn't understand. They came for answers, and he gave them a mirror that didn't flatter, didn't comfort, but showed what is. He didn't ask for belief. He asked for attention. He didn't want worship. He asked for stillness. And in that stillness, a strange thing happens. The search ends. Not because something was found, but because the seeker vanished. His presence was not charismatic. It was clear. Not intense, but precise. And in that clarity, many felt shaken. Not by what he said, but by what they saw in themselves. He dismantled the scaffolding of self, not out of rebellion, but out of love. He asked, can you look at fear and not run? Can you stay with sorrow without calling it yours? Not easy questions, not comfortable ones, but necessary. He didn't promise transformation. He promised nothing, and yet many left him changed. Not because of what he gave, but because of what fell away in his presence. He once said, to live is to die every day. To die to yesterday, to roles, to conclusions, to die to what you think you are so that something real might live. When his body grew old, his mind did not dim. The flame never flickered. He walked slowly. He watched the sky with the same alertness as always. And when illness came, he didn't resist. He had been practicing death every day. Not morbidly, but naturally. He had no fear, no claims, no legacy to preserve. He said, you have to be a light to yourself in a world that is becoming utterly dark. It wasn't a slogan. It was the final echo of a man who had emptied himself completely. And in that emptiness, something immense remained. Not a teaching, not a movement, but silence, the kind that doesn't end. So now, as you sit here listening to this, as the world spins, as thoughts rise and fall, ask not what he believed, but what you can see. Not what he taught, but what is. And in that looking, if you're very still, very open, you might hear it. A whisper without a voice, a flame without smoke, a presence that was never his alone, the silence that remains. Thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take care of your mind. We'll see you in the next one.